Put all of that out there. Put all of that out there. Just not to pursue it for money. For money. Tonight, the Pied Piper is back. No. Not that one. Wait, what are you doing? What are you doing? The kids are saying. You've been waiting so long. So why now? Just wondering. And I believe the children are our future. Thank you. Teach them well and no more teachings? See what we talking about with these stories and more on this week's episode of the BS. Let's go.
Peace and blessings. What's good? It's your boy Seven. I'm just so this is a little bit of a different intro this week because I'm just gonna let you know right now that this week's episode was a doozy to create. Somehow I ended up with too many audio inputs on my file, so somehow the audio ended up doubled. I did as many different sorts of workarounds and whatever. I mean, it was a long episode. It was like 45 minutes, and that's the first issue. Then there's the second issue of one of the subjects that I covered. So the story was basically covering the air system, which is used to monitor any sort of adverse effects that may result in connection with the jab. I only reported on the system and was given the information as reported in the British Medical Journal. This wasn't information from your boy Seven. This was information from the British Medical Journal and backed up by information from the actual CDC. But for some reason, YouTube decided to say, nope, misinformation. We can't have you spreading misinformation on what they called a perfectly safe and effective jab. And so with that, I'm just like, okay, so where are we living now? Or why? And so now I guess you could say in my journalistic endeavors, this is my first time ever encountering something along the lines that would that's potentially saying that I'm putting out misinformation or something like that. So that's one way of looking at it. But from my perspective, I'm actually looking at it and saying, well, you're actually putting up barriers and saying that we just can't even talk about anything outside of or within this space, which for me really makes me feel some kind of way because so this is your boy said. So I'm letting you know right now. This is my whole editorial right now, and I might be just kind of unleashing and it's a podcast anyway. So this is just kind of how this happens. This is how these things work. So that's my little primer. But when I look at things, when I look at the world in general, when I look at issues that affect this group, that group, or what have you, I always break things down to the simplest of terms, and I say, well, would you put forth this sort of effort for or in connection to these other people, to these other issues? Here's what I'm talking about. So with all this, with all the barriers of conversation or barriers to conversations surrounding certain subjects, those especially including the jab, the recent pandemic, and anything going on in the Middle East with a certain country that begins with I, or showing support for the other country in that same country that begins with P. So if you talk about any of those subjects in any sort of manner, it seems like the barriers or the borders are such that you're automatically shut off, canceled from contention. And if this were a monetized channel, then that would absolutely remove any sort of potential for me to make any sort of money off that video or off that information. So with regard to what I was saying about the CDC, I've received a warning, and I just think like, wow, you can put so you have these, so you can put forth this sort of energy to say, hey, this is a thing we shouldn't talk about at all for some reason. So why is it that when racists decide they want to hop on and say whatever sort of racist stuff they want to spew, these sort of barriers or these sort of things aren't put up or aren't used in these sort of barriers aren't used. These structures, these systemic structures aren't used. So you can say the N word. You can say this about these other people and say this about this religion. You can talk about all these people all you want. But if you say something about this thing, this thing, this thing, and that thing, then it's a problem. So to me, that says to me that you understand that certain things are an issue, but there's only certain things that you're actually willing to make an effort for. And to me, that's fucked up. But I am in a space where I want to give you more information and entertainment than excuses. So with that, we're not gonna worry about it. We're not gonna worry about it any further. If I get to a story where I feel like it's important and some information that needs to be covered, I will go ahead and give you that information, because who knows? Just doing this in itself might be enough of a reason for them to say, hey, no, we're gonna take this off. And because I've already received my first warning, and they're saying if I do it again, then I'll get my first strike. But if I have an issue, but if I speak on another subject where I say something incorrectly, then I'll just get another warning. So I guess that means that the strikes are subject based in that sense. But anyway, all that said and done, you got all the excuses out the way. We know what the primers are. We know what the qualifiers are and all that stuff. But the information in the show is still good. And I think it's still pretty entertaining at the same time. So with that said, make sure you hit the like and subscribe buttons and holler at your boy on the other side of this, and we'll just go ahead and move on. Oh yeah, and I've heard it enough, so I had to. I've heard people saying enough about, oh, you think with some of the things that I've kind of said in regards to certain celebrity relationships or just relationships in general and all that good stuff. So I've heard people say some things. So I'm like, you know what? Fine, you said it. Let's go all the way in. Oh, don't trip. This is probably gonna be a segment. You're probably gonna see me in a whole suit and everything. And I'm gonna pull out the glasses and we're gonna make it nice and dark. And we're gonna, break it down. Hold on, let's go ahead and here we go. Do it how he would do it. Here we go. Put my glasses on and everything. We can, yeah. So we can do something like this and have those conversations, I guess. So we'll do that on the Ask a Black Man segment or something like that. I don't know, but maybe that's how I'll do it. I think that's how I'll bring it. But you all let me know what you think, and yeah. Anyway, we'll go ahead and get to it.
What is good? What is good, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, boys and girls of all kinds? I am Seven Blackman, and this is the Blackman Show, a place where we can take a look at today's news with a little bit of 7 cents. But that's right, this is the Black Man Show that just happens to be hosted by a genuine, bona fide black man. Pause. And be sure to reach out to us on Ask a Black Man today. And I want to thank you all for helping us to get to 100 subscribers. We definitely could not have done it without you, and we have some goals for this channel, and I want you all to be right along with us for the ride. So I appreciate you all for helping us to reach them so far and get into our first 100. So now that we've reached 100, I'm sure you can help us crank it to 500. So with that being said, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button as we go ahead and get into this news. Let's go. So I know for a couple of weeks we've been running an ad for the t-shirts and hoodies and totes that we have in conjunction with the good people at Bandana Boy Tees. Link in the description. While they're having a Black Friday sale, as a matter of fact. Now they are 100% cotton, designed in-house and made in the US of A. The ad shows some of the basics of what took place in that event for August weekend, but for those of you who were just listening or who may have just overlooked what was taking place before you, let me break this down for you just a little bit, because we got to take a look at what took place. So basically, you had, this one man just doing his job. Damian Pickett, co-captain of the Harriet II ship. He was basically guiding the vessels that were docking so that the passengers could get on or off safely. As he was directing one of the pontoons, one of these mayonnaise men of mayhem with their masterful mullet decided to launch at the brother, and the brother hit the signal, and the people responded in kind. Finally. And it turned into somewhat of a race war of sorts.
A big race war and suntan lotion and Jerry Curl juice is shooting all over the place. At the end of the fight, everybody sued me.
Ultimately, because most of the people could see from the footage exactly who did what and, who did what to whom, I'd say most of us were surprisingly pleased to note that it was primarily the raucous caucus that was incarcerated for their obvious drunken outbursts, with the exception of one chair-wielding hero. We'll never forget you, sir.
Whoa. You still.
I'm mad.
But none of the arrested parties was Damian Pickett himself. Well, as it stands now, it appears that one of the au fait offenders has cried foul, clamoring for his pain and suffering in the events that he started, where he and his brood of bearish brutes badly bungling bothered black people till the brothers banded, brawled, bobbed, weaved, bop, bashed, and boop, 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 beat back the overbearing oppressors. That is to say, one of the gentlemen who threw the first drunken punch is now suing the man that he attacked for his injuries. That's right, this man, Zachary Shipman, who's a lot shorter than his mugshot would have you believe, is suing Pickett for damages. So he's alleging that this brother hit the man in the face and that he wasn't doing anything but defending himself. Okay, all right. So let's take a look at this. So the brawl had already basically taken place, and then he, defending himself, hops into the brawl to defend himself. He hops into the brawl to defend himself, gets hit, and now he's suing. Does that make sense to anybody else? I'm just saying. Does that make sense to anybody else? I'm just maybe it's a little bit of Napoleon in him. I'm just saying he might have a little problem going. All right, I'm sorry. My bad. I shouldn't be like that. Okay, my bad. Although the city's mayor and police chief solely recognize Pickett as the victim, it's just weird that these useless cases are clogging up our courts and justice system. So now Shipman, who is being charged with third-degree assault because of his obvious assault, right, has entered a plea of not guilty in his November 16 trial. Now, no word has come out yet of the outcome or sentencing, but with that, what do you think will come of these charges against the captain? The co-captain. Hit me up in the comment section below. So you may be aware of the recent Bad Boy saga. No, not that one. I'm talking about the drama going on with Bad Boy Records founder and man who's never seen an old school record he didn't like, Sean Puffy, P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, Puffy, Dirty Money, Did you really send them people across town for that cheesecake? Combs, seen here being completely inconspicuous, and his situation with former pop R&B singer Cassandra Ventura, also known as Cassie. It seems that she has accused Diddy of some wild stuff, from actual assault to full-on grape to ass trafficking and loads of substance abuse. To that end, she filed a lawsuit against him outlining those claims, and her lawsuit paints a picture of a tumultuous relationship where Diddy allegedly controlled every aspect of her life and coerced her into some really awful situations. Diddy, though, for his part, dude basically denies every single part of it and says that her demand for $30 million is nothing more than blackmail. Now, here's the thing. Cassie filed this lawsuit under the New York Adult Survivors Act. Now, what is that? It's basically a law in New York that allows adult survivors of sexual abuse to sue their abusers even when the statute of limitations has passed. But this law is soon set to expire, like the end of this month expired, which might explain why Cassie was so hard-pressed or so adamant about getting this thing, on the books as of right now, right? And that caused the band to get back together, so to speak. I mean, everyone commiserating, telling their favorite Diddy ain't shit story from former singer turned blow up doll. I don't know. I don't know. Look, if you look at what that girl, if you look at what she used to look like when she first came out versus what she looked like now, you know what I'm talking about. But Aubrey O'Day from Daddy Kane, now more recently known for her attempt to live overseas while still being in America, shared her own experiences with Diddy, mentioning how working with him consisted of, mind games, mind control, and all of that sort of stuff. I mean, she even spilled how Diddy was trying to get her to sign an NDA or non-disclosure agreement for her to keep quiet about any of his dealings, especially just to come forward about this much of the story. But before all of this came to light, your boy Diddy did something that's pretty much unheard of in the music industry. Instead of cashing in on this artist's music rights, I mean, he decided to give back the publishing rights to some of them. So Mace, Faith Evans, 112, and even Notorious Big, his estate, got their music rights returned, and we're talking like hundreds of millions of dollars here. So, I don't know, just kind of got me wondering, like, was that kind of done preemptively, in preparation for all this that was coming down with Cassie? Because, I mean, if you're talking about she was saying that or you're saying that she was trying to blackmail you for a while, then that means that she's been coming at you for a while. So it means that you've known for a while. So again, is this related? That's just kind of what I'm thinking about. And also, why did he decide to do this now? You know what I'm saying? Like, and then like a single day, right? A single day after Cassie's filing, she already settled with the hip hop mogul for an undisclosed amount. Like, what's the deal with the quick settlement between him and Cassie, given the gravity of these allegations? And now that all the information is out of everything that he supposedly did to her, will there be any actual legal consequences for him beyond, the settlement that they've already reached? So that's kind of what I wanted to put out initially, but then I started thinking about, okay, there's all these other different parts of the story that I kind of wanted to address, right? Like, people talking about the victimization of Black women, and for me, I would look at it from the perspective of saying, well, while we're gonna say that this woman was victimized, she was also an adult. She was a consenting adult, and while we can be mad at the fact that she was younger, he was 20 years her senior at the time of their connection, and all that, and he had power and influence. We can go through all that drama and all that stuff. I would push back and say, who was in her corner? Who did she have? Did she have nobody? Was she just out there on the lark all by herself? You know what I'm saying? She just had no support. Like, where was her people at? Because at days in, what you're saying is, this is what you wanted to do, and these are the things that you pursued. These are the things that you allowed, Cassie. No offense. These are the things that you allowed, and these are the things that you partook, or that you would partake in, because you thought that it would lead to you being on the road to power and fame. I mean, because think about it. When people want fame, when people want recognition, when people want some sort of notoriety or something like that, a lot of times, if they're driven enough, they're gonna do whatever the hell they want, they think is necessary to get to that point. And maybe she felt or thought that this is what she needed to do to get to that point, to get there. You know what I'm saying? And like, I've heard people talking about, it's the misogyny in hip hop and all that. And again, I would say, sure, there's misogyny in hip hop. There's misogyny in a lot of different stuff. There's in rock music, in jazz, and blues. There was misogyny in a lot of different stuff. Does that mean that what part of hip hop is actual trafficking? I'm just saying, like if we're gonna say like all of this that ain't nothing but hip hop or something like that, what part of that is actual trafficking? What part of hip hop includes trafficking? I'm just saying, like, when we talking about the elements, what part of that is where's the part this the trafficking part? What part is that? Sometimes you just have weirdos who just do weird shit, and that's what you just gotta say is going on or what happened with this dude. I mean, sometimes you just have weirdos who have power, and sometimes you don't want to face yourself, and maybe reaching out to the person that you think is the reason for your victimization, even though you put yourself in that place, or you allowed yourself to be in that place, or you allowed yourself to be put in that place. And I'm not saying that Puff Daddy ain't a weirdo. Again, I've already heard about rumors of his parties and stories told by Jamie Foxx. We know about that. We know about him hanging out with different MCs and artists, putting his arms around the guys and said, "Nah, man, when we gonna hang?" And the artists are sitting there looking like, "Hey, we didn't already hung out and had, we was at the club a time or two already. What we talking about?" And then Puffy comes back with, "Nah, I'm talking about hang." And now you like, what are you talking about, brother? hang. What do you mean, brother?
Look back on where I became.
Did you miss me though? For real, because it seems like a thing.
I
With
miss
this
partying
birthday
with
party,
Puff, man.
man. But I'm talking about for your birthday.
Huh?
Why won't you party with me for your birthday, man?
We partied for my birthday before. You came to my party.
No, but me and you ain't never really party. You know what I'm saying?
All that stuff is out there, so we know that or there is or has been an element of weirdness. I'll just say that of weirdness when it comes to Sean P. Diddy Combs any damn way. We've known that. That's been known for a while. So entangling or being tangled with him may come with some sort of trap door or trap in itself any damn way. Shout out to the Scorpio since we in the season. But when you vote with Scorpios, you run the risk of getting stung. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, and that's not even mentioning the whole thing going on with with Kim Porter and her passing, and the possibility that he having something to do with that, or knowing about the poison, or he was there when it had all of that goodness. I'm just saying, it's at day's end. At day's end, they were consenting adults. There were no, as far as I've seen, there were no police reports for him R-ing her. There were no police reports for physical assault. So and again, I'm not trying to blame the victim. Where was the people? And again, when she's talking about she was being in the preponderance of drugs in her life and all that stuff, it wasn't because she was she had never taken drugs before. She was using. It was just the fact that, again, a drunk with $20 versus a drunk with $1 million. P. Diddy had more than $1 million, and he had access to quite a few items. So why is it any question that this child had access to the things that this man was given? I mean, it just doesn't make any sense to me. It just doesn't make any sense. I don't know. It always turns into some victim blaming stuff where you can't look at things objectively because of how we may feel about the parties involved. Personally, I have no dog in this fight, but I would question the motives behind all of this. I mean, are you broke? Has all of this back and forth with him led to the codependent lifestyle where even in another relationship, she can't let go? Look, I know you probably already got into the salacious parts with the blown up cars and the live watch cuckold sessions or whatever that was about. But I'm talking about right now. And look, she's settled. And look, put all of that out there. Put all of that out there just not to pursue it for money. For money. All right, y'all. So I'm going to show you 2 videos and then I'll be right back.
What's your song?
I'm a child,
Hey. Yo.
my red light.
No. Go ahead.
And you're trying to see me, and I'm trying to see me, and you're trying to say what's up. Become downtown, going downtown.
Whoa, whoa. All right.
Good day, girl.
Oh, 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 oh. That's how you know. Bye.
Okay, and then so that was the first one, and then I'll let you check out this one.
The children today, I have never experienced, and I'm 22. Having to teach and work with you guys as children has been the most traumatic experience of my life. I teach 5-year-olds ballet. 5-year-old girls ballet. I have a class of 10 students. They don't respect any authority. You ask them, can you stand in your designated spot? They're telling you no and shut up. They're throwing things at each other. They're throwing things at other people, other classmates. You say, can everybody sit in their spot? I don't want to. I'm not doing that. You don't get to tell me what to do. You're not my mom. You confront the parent. The parent tries to argue with you and fuss at you because you tried to reprimand and redirect their kid. I told a young little girl, please sit in your spot. You're not my mom. You don't tell me what to do. Okay. When her mom came to pick her up, I said, hey, your daughter's having a hard time following instructions. And 7 times today, I've had to redirect her to just sit in her spot. Well, clearly she didn't want to sit. And mind you, this is a mom. Clearly she didn't want to sit right there. So, I mean, if she's telling you she don't want to do something, why keep asking her to do it? You know she's not going to do it. What world do we live in? Like, what in you guys' brain as a parent says, my kid not following any directions is a great thing. It's not that serious, and y'all don't have a right to tell her what to do. It's sad. It's sad. It's really, really sad. And another thing that's heart-wrenching is horrifying. It is horrifying. Your 5-year-old daughters are asking to listen to Pound Town and Ski Yitty. Your daughters, your 5-year-old daughters are asking, can we hear Pound Town? I'm playing them Princess Tiana ballet music. And they are asking me, can we hear Pound?
I don't know what to do.
I don't know what to do. And I'm so scared for these little girls today because this is the most insane agenda push I have ever seen in my life. We do freeze dance. You guys' daughters are twerking at 5. 5. Where's the parenting? Where's the boundaries? Where's the help? Y'all are not helping your kids. You're hurting them. You guys are hurting them.
So in one, we're seeing what our children are being raised by. We see the music that influences them, and we see the way that they act in connection. Then in the other, we got this young lady already looking down the road of the future of our children, finding that there is nowhere to go. And for me, this kind of goes into last week's show. See that one here. Where rapper D1 was talking about the state of hip-hop and its effect on its listeners. And I can say that I agree once again. Because, look, there has to be some sort of, or some level of guidance when it comes to what these babies are consuming, right? I mean, for what it's worth, I grew up with a very religious background that I definitely no longer practice. But I will say that it has molded some decisions that I do and don't make, and has had a pretty big impact on who I am today. Now, I wouldn't say that it was like the biblical side of it as much as like referring to the community and the structural aspect of the church. And, you know, after going to church for a while, you start to build those bonds with the people you're there worshiping, fellowshipping, drop shipping with, and you begin to think more in the vein of representing, you know, those people when you move around and not wanting to let them down, you know, when you do. And I figure you can get that from just about any sort of community organization, group, or enclave, or anything that you feel that you're a part of. Hell, even gangs are like that to a certain degree. I mean, me being from I almost said it. They help you to create, influence, and shape your trajectory. But with what we see from these kids, what some are aspiring to do or become, what we've seen from our neighborhoods that we don't want to address, but we know that we see, what are we setting our children up for when we don't have the communal structures in place that we once had? And it's like the bag now, the ultimate bag is the reason for every damn thing. Like everything that we do nowadays is for the bag. That's the reason for everything. As much as people talk about the bag, I don't even know why people talk about God. I don't even know why we even front. Because you know your only God is the bag. That's your only God. But what sort of message would you give to this young lady to help keep her from losing hope? I just wonder what those home structures look like. I wonder if the father's in the home. If there's only one parent, I won't even just put it on the mother like that, because I don't want to make it seem like the mothers are bad, because there's great mothers out there. But if there's only one parent running the show, and they're leaving the child to their whims most times of the day, because a lot of parents get tired, a lot of parents don't care, a lot of parents just want you to shut the hell up and give them a little bit of silence. So if that's the case, and this is what the children are left to, what trajectory do you think the children are on? I'm not saying that. Now, I'm not sitting there saying that kids who are popping their coochie or whatever at age 5 or whatever can't grow up to be politicians. We've seen what happened with Tiffany Hanger in Dalton, Illinois. I'm sure she was a coochie popper when she was a kid. I can almost guarantee she was a coochie popper when she was a kid. But hey, she's in public office, so there's that. But I'm just saying, what trajectory do you think these kids are on when this is what they're doing? What do you think? Where do you think they're going? What do you think is going to be the outcome when this is the path that they're on now? Again, I'm not saying that they can't change the path. You can change the path at any given point, anytime in life, anytime you want to. But it gets more difficult the longer that you're on one path. That's all I'm saying. So it's better to start off on the right steps early in life than to try to make the right steps later on after you done already messed up 17, 18 times with Pookie, Ray Ray, and Lil Tony. So I won't lie, y'all. I was hella reluctant to do this story. I didn't want to have to run down the lines of why, because in all actuality, like most, I was hoping for a miracle. a resurrection of sorts. A lyrical reemergence or re-emergence of someone a lot of people would consider top 5. High praise, even higher praise when you will consider that this artist has never actually put out a solo album. Well, that is until today. Well, technically last week, but that's right. Half of hip-hop duo of Atlanteans and possibly one of the greatest groups of all time, Outkast. I'm talking about Andre Benjamin, a.k.a. Dre, a.k.a. Andre 3000, a.k.a. 3 Stacks, a.k.a. Johnny Vulture, a.k.a. Yeah, out of the blue, your boy Stacks came through with a surprise album, New Blue Sun, for your listening pleasure, and the people were in reaction.
Yeah, it's from national rock the ground on the you are the prototype.
I mean, look, there was some funny posts, people looking to make a silly point that, that they probably got from somewhere else on the interwebs, and even a few people who had a bunch to say that was positive.
Feel free to pause and read right here.
What I found interesting in all of it, right, was the fact that it's really tiring meeting the rigorous standards of whatever expectations of being an artist are. Seriously, it's got to be. I mean, why do we expect us to continually or perpetually remain as the thing, or to remain the thing that we met us as? You know what I'm saying? I know that kind of sounds weird, but it's like if I'm in a place, or if I'm an artist, I'm in a place of creation. I'm a creator, right? That doesn't mean, or if I create clothes, I create shoes. So if I create shoes, does that mean I can only create shoes all my life? That's all I'm ever allowed to do. I can never like create a belt. Can't create hats. You know what I'm saying? Nice little kerchief, your handkerchief. Can't do none of that. Can't get a nice little haberdashery going. I can't get a whole haberdashery. I can only do shoes. I can only be a blacksmith. That's all I can do. Just like we can't and will never get the old Kanye back, old Andre seems even further away. In his recent GQ interview, which took place in a local laundromat, the former Equeminarian compared his life and a career with that of a boxer, in that you don't see Tyson still looking to go 12 rounds for a belt. Eventually, some just slow down. But is he allowed to turn that fight into something else to start anew?
People think, oh man, he's just sitting on raps, or like he's just holding these raps hostage. Like, I ain't got no raps like that. Like it actually feels, sometimes it feels inauthentic for me to rap, because I don't have anything to talk about in that way. Like, I'm 48 years old, and not to say that age is a thing that dictates what you rap about, but in a way it does. And like,
I mean, this man took time, years, in learning an entirely new instrument. Several, actually. Mostly within the woodwind section of the band. I mean, they would sometimes be referred to as the air within a song. So, sorry if I get my music nerd on for a bit. But I applaud the man for doing the work of learning a new medium. I mean, because basically that's like the equivalent of learning a whole new language, if you think about it. After saying that through a cacophony of beats and songs sent to him, he rarely knows what to say. Jokingly, he said he can't rap about his life. He has to get a colonoscopy. He can't rap about getting no colonoscopy. What word rhyme with colonoscopy? Hold it down for me. Anyway, but he put his spirit into creating a freestyle or improvised record, showing off his new skill and once again allowing himself to be vulnerable in a new space where he basically isn't as sure. And I get it. I bet most would have at least expected a woodwind hip-hop fusion album with Lizzo on it. Speaking of which, with however people feel about Lizzo as an artist, she actually plays the flute on her records and in her shows. But let's say she got away from hip-hop. Believe it or not, her first album actually was pretty good, and it was more hip-hop-ish than anything else. It's called Cocoa Butter. It was actually pretty good. And let's just say she came back years later with her having learned the flute after she had already made it big. Now, would she still get the same reception as Andre? Or is it because this is Andre? You see what I'm saying? And no matter what other medium he selects, it will always fall short of the time when lines like, Andre Ben, welcome to the lion's den, a red jet, no skin, me and comprehend, I extend myself so you go out and tell a friend. Like, the man dropped lyrical bars that could press the media. Get it? And seemed to appear on the scene in the 90s along with his hometown partner, Big Boy, at a time when you think hip-hop was only about the East and the West. But maybe their arrival was like catching the lightning in a bottle. After all, Dre says that having talent is one thing, but having the timing and momentum to go along with that is even more important than the talent itself. So to that end, can we understand why he doesn't and hasn't put out a new rap album? How long does Tom Brady need to be slinging footballs to show that he cheated, that he's a great player? How many more points does LeBron need to score? How many more Renaissance tour dates should Beyonce have had? 100? 300? You know, should this be like that COVID commercial where he says to just keep pressing for more accolades, more adulation?
More.
How much more successful do you want me to be?
More successful.
How many records can my records break?
More records.
But I'm the best.
But are you a different animal and the same beast?
What the does that mean, Kobe Bryant?
You're welcome.
What is he talking about?
My point here is that sometimes it's okay for the boxer to stop punching when he feels there's no more battles to fight. And if he decides to become an actor, a singer, or a spokesman, then why the hell can't Andre play a freaking flute? I mean, hell, y'all let George W. Bush come back as an accomplished painter, and after all, he killed people. I think Dre is gonna be all right. Now, I haven't listened to the album, but I plan to. Do you? Now, I am glad that the man was able to amass over 3 million streams out of mere curiosity. So I'm curious still of what it has in it. And have you seen the name of some of the songs? I ain't even gonna get into any of that. But anyway, I'd just be interested to know what you think of it from a musician's or creator's perspective, to all my creatives out there. And can you look past your disappointment for bars to pick up what he's putting down? Or is the album the soundtrack to the new Marvel movie that ain't nobody seen? I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments down below. And with that, I want to thank you all for watching and checking out the news with your boy. Be sure to hit that like button. Hit the subscribe button. Help your boy grow this channel. What you waiting on? Go ahead. Come on, let's do it. Thank you. Okay, seriously, if I've earned your viewership this far, I absolutely appreciate each and every one of you. Feel free to check out some of the previous episodes and get caught up on what we talking about. And if you'd like to reach out to your boy, the email and socials are below with all that. You know, you can check me out. But with that said, ladies and gentlemen, I am your boy 7. This has been The Blackman Show. Have yourself a safe and wonderful Thanksgiving. And please take care of each other until next time. Peace. And I'm out.